I'd like to talk to you a little bit about crumb coating a cake. Some people refer to it as dirty ice, but I refer to it as a crumb coat. So the premise of this is, what you want to do is any crumbs that are loose on the cake, you basically trap them with a crumb coat. That way when that sets up, if it's by chilling it or if it crusts over a little bit, it encapsulates those crumbs so that when you put on your outer layer of icing, be it another buttercream layer or fondant, then those crumbs don't show through. So basically what I'm going to work with today is an American buttercream or a decorator's buttercream, and there's a great brand that we have that CK makes that comes in a 25-pound unit, an 8-pound unit, and a 3.5-pound unit. So whatever you're working on, if it's a small birthday cake or a big wedding cake, you've got the size you need. So for the crumb coat, what I like to do is I like to give it a little bit of a whip. You can do that in your mixer or by hand, just give it a little bit of a whip, and then add a few drops of water. I'm going to thin it down and make it a nice creamy peanut butter consistency so it's nice and spreadable. If it's too thick and you have a soft cake to start with, it can tend to tear. So you want to add a little bit of water here. So just giving that a quick stir. And it doesn't so much matter if you start with the top of the cake or the sides of the cake, as long as you have a good dense cake that's going to give good resistance to you. So I'm just going to put a lot of buttercream here on the top. What I like to do, instead of adding a little bit and spreading it and then a little bit and spreading it, I add all of what I think it's going to need at the beginning. So that way I have to pick up my knife less, and that creates less crumbs to start with. So I have a good amount of buttercream here, and I'm just going to start to spread it. And if you'll notice, my knife here, I'm never picking it up. I'm just going back and forth and just moving it around. That way you're creating less crumbs. So just going to the corners. Turntable makes really quick work of this as well. I love this turntable. It's a double-sided turntable. You can probably zoom in on that a little bit. If you'll notice, this top has a nice 14-inch width to it. I can even flip it over if you'll look at the base there and do an entire half sheet with this turntable. Love it. All right, so we've got our top done there. Now I'm going to go back and do my sides. You'll notice I'm using an offset spatula here. It's one that has a little bit of a curve in it. And I like to use the back side of the knife. It's just a little bit more friendly than using the front side that tends to tip back and forth. The back side you can tend to really get a good angle on. So again, I put as much as I need for the entire side, and I'm just moving it back and forth, getting it on the side. So again, this is a crumb coat. It's okay to see a little bit of the bare cake through that because I'm going to be putting another layer of icing later on. This is again just a crumb coat to encapsulate those crumbs. So you'll notice that I have a little bit of raised buttercream here on the edge. The way to get that nice and smooth for your next layer of icing is if you'll just clean your spatula and then start off the cake and just right across that drag it towards the cake. Clean it again, off the cake, pull it towards the cake, and you've got a nice straight edge there. So if you just continue around to each side, that's how you do a crumb coat.